Welcome back to Learn Astrology with Mary. My name is Mary English. You can find me at www.maryenglish.com, maryenglish.co.uk and UK Astrologer. Hello, 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 hello. I hope you're well. Now, today I'm going to talk about the midheaven, which is something I very, very rarely pay much attention to. Aren't I naughty? And the reason is probably because maybe it's because I'm self-taught and it wasn't really much part of the agenda of things I needed to know to be able to help people. But there's something going on with my midheaven at the moment. And I'm not going to talk about my chart because obviously my chart's mine, but I'll talk about the midheaven. But what's going on in my chart at the moment, let me just get the flipping transits up, is I've got transiting Jupiter is 21 degrees Taurus and transiting Uranus is 21 degrees Taurus, and they're exactly conjunct to each other, man. So there's a lovely conjunction going on. And my midheaven is 15 degrees into the sign of Taurus. And so that's astrologically pretty cushy because 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, it's 6 degrees away. It can't be exactly conjunct because it isn't, but it's very near to it. And the reason I'm mentioning this is because Mercury's retrograding at the moment, and during the retrograde I've told you that I've been tidying out my office and chucking things out and clearing out client notes from 30 plus years ago because I don't legally need to hold on to them anymore and they're getting shredded tomorrow. And in amongst all the tidying up and chucking things out and whatever, I came across something like 15 copies of a tape that I'd made, a music tape I'd made in the 1990s from a song that I'd written in 1990. So this was something like, I think I recorded it something like 1995 or 3 or wherever. Anyway, the tape. And I had loads of copies of it, and what's the flipping point? So I was chucking them out, and then my husband put them in the garage and he pulled all of the tape out of the cassette and chopped it in half or something so that nobody else would be able to listen to it. And I went into panic. How many have I got? How many have I kept? And I'd kept one, and that one wasn't working. And my tape recorder had broken down. It's a long story, you'll have to listen. The tape recorder had broken down, so that I searched around the house, and in the box of where all these things are that I've been tidying up out of the loft and whatever was a copy of the tape, the original tape I'd made, a music tape, and it's me singing. It's a song, and I'd sent it to myself because back in the day there was this idea that if you sent yourself something and it was clearly date stamped on the envelope, you could use that as evidence in court that this was the date that you wrote the song, so therefore somebody else wouldn't be able to steal it. I don't know, I've got no idea if that thing still applies, but back in the day, in the 1990s, this was something that people recommended to make sure that whatever you'd written was officially copyrighted, because now you've got a post office that don't even do it anymore, but the stamp from the post office, the thumb, the way they franked it, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, that copy worked beautifully. And then I had to get myself, as you do when these things start off and you get a bee in your bonnet, I had to, because my tape recorder had now broken down, I had to buy myself another one. And I thought it was no good just getting an ordinary tape recorder. I need to get one that will convert it to an MP3. Converted it to MP3, listened to it didn't sound too bad, saved it as an MP3. So saved it from cassette to MP3 on this little device. Uploaded a short clip of it to my Instagram account, and I thought, I really like that song. It's such a pity that nobody else can hear it. Anyway, long story short, the day before yesterday, so not yesterday but the day before, I'm having Saturday, so that'd be Thursday, I resurrected, there's a classic Mercury retrograde thing, resurrected my YouTube channel, which was called Folk in the Front Room, because I'm also a folk singer, so that's something that's a hobby. Okay, astrology is a living, music is a hobby. resurrected the channel, had to go back onto an old Mac and get the old videos off there, re-upload them. I hadn't thrown anything out, and I've got the old Mac, so I did all of that during a Mercury retrograde. It took me hours to upload these things. Wrote to some local musicians and asked them, invited them onto the show, and all the rest of it. And I thought, what is the matter with me at the minute? Whatever is going on? And the sun's just gone into Taurus. That went into Taurus a couple of days ago. There must be something going on in my chart. So, why am I doing this? What's it all about? Ugh. So there's two things happening at the moment. Now, I'm going to be quoting from a book called Finding Success in the Horoscope by a lady called Jackie Slevin. And she calls it the Slevin System of Horoscope Analysis. So she's got to have Leo in a chart somewhere, hasn't she? And my MC is 15 degrees Taurus, and my sun sign is 15 degrees Pisces. So my sun sign and my MC are very, very much friends with each other. They like each other, yeah. So my MC is 15 degrees 42 minutes and my sun sign's 15 degrees and 6 minutes. But I was wondering, why is this happening? Why is it happening now? So now transiting Saturn is exactly conjunct to my sun sign. So transiting Saturn today and 2 days ago, 15 degrees. Today is 15 degrees and 45 minutes. And my sun sign is 15 degrees and 6 minutes. But if you remember, my MC is 15 degrees and 42 minutes. So Saturn transiting is 45. So Saturn transiting to my MC is responsibility, do the right thing, because I sort of consider that if you have a talent of some sort and you sort of stick it under the bed and pay no attention to it, the lords or the gods or whatever you want to call it has given you this wonderful talent, it's a bit shitty of you not to use it in some way. So these are all things that were running through my head. It's, I do like singing. It is something I am good at. Blah, blah, blah. So what we're going to be discussing today is the MC. So we're going to talk about the chart of someone who unfortunately is now in heaven. So I don't have their permission to share their chart, but I'm going to disguise their chart. But this is somebody that I do know pretty well, or did know, because they're now no longer with us. And I'm just saving their chart here so that I can chat about it. And so, was this person successful in what they did? And right? So what I'm saying is Uranus, Jupiter, Uranus, the sudden happenings, because it was sudden. It was a sudden decision. It wasn't as if I sort of built up to it. It only happened this week. It's like, why this week? Well, it's obviously Jupiter, Uranus conjunction, because now it is exactly what it was yesterday. And Saturn, exactly. So I've got a very, very nice, and I don't talk about the MC, I hardly ever discuss it, I barely talk about it with clients, but I was sort of thinking, well, what the heck is happening in my chart at the moment to be making this thing happen? Do I want to share my chart with you? What do you think? Do you think I should share my chart? I'm always nervous about sharing my chart. So I sort of think, somebody's going to, rob me. Let me share my chart. So with the transits, I'm just going to share that segment of the chart, that side of it, so that you can see. Okay? You can clearly see the transiting. And in fact, the day that I did it, because the moon's in Libra today, but the day that I did it, the moon was in Virgo, and I've got Pluto 4 degrees Virgo, but the moon wasn't there, but it was exactly conjunct to my north node, and my north node is directly opposite my Mercury, and my Mercury natally is retrograde, so that's, and Mars is exactly conjunct to my Mercury retrograde. Mars is exactly conjunct at that moment. Am I making any sense here? So we're going to talk about MCs. And of course, so there's me preparing for today's episode. And I go to astro.com and the bloody website sodding well crashed. I said, what charts have I got? It'll let me sign into my account, but it won't let me use Astro Databank because Astro Databank has gone clonk. It might not be clonk by the time this gets broadcast. So MC. So in her book, Finding Success in the Horoscope by Jackie Slevin, she says, this is her 12-step Slevin system. 1. Determine the sign and degree on the midheaven, MC. 2. Find the planet nearest to that degree in phlomatic aspect within signs. This is the principal planet. I'm not too sure what she means by Ptolemaic. Let me just look that up. Oh, that was easy. So a Ptolemaic aspect is just the bog standard ones. So conjunction, sextile, square, trine, or opposition. Okay, nice and easy. Well, don't use long words. Just put normal aspects. And this is the principal planet. Okay. Note any planets in the 10th house. Note the principal planet's sign and strength, whether in dignity, debility, direction, whether direct, retrograde, or stationary. Note the house in which the principal planet is posited, or whether it is within 5 degrees of the next house cusp. Ignore that. That's I hate that. Don't do that. Determine the aspects the principal planet makes. Yes. Note the house or houses this planet rules. Yes. Note if the principal planet is exactly conjunct or within 1 degree of the cardinal axis, and the cardinal axis for her and that type of astrology is the midheavens opposite the IC, and the ascendant is opposite the descendant, and that forms a cross. And then in the plaster system it's all nice and la la la. Note if the principal planet is exactly conjunct within 1 degree of royal fixed stars. Can't be asked with them, but might be quite interesting. Combine the above factors where applicable to discover the most definitive shorthand description of the personality and define the strongest attributes for achieving success, notoriety, or high visibility. Repeat this process with the planets nearest to the degree of the principal planet. Okay, so that's all quite cushy. I can go along with those. It is a very interesting book. She has got some very good chart examples to demonstrate what it is she's talking about. Okay, now because I've got a Taurus midheaven, unfortunately when she talks about the Taurus midheaven she's using Donald Trump and is painting him in rather fluffy descriptive descriptions, and the book was written in 2008, so I think back then people hadn't quite realised what a nutcase the man is. He was obviously always ignoring his Uranus conjunct sun, but anyway, and people quite back then were impressed by his wealth, which as we know now he stole a lot of the money and he's just going to court now, hurrah. And his midheaven is Taurus 8 degrees, and the ruling planet to that is Venus, and then you'd have to look to see where the Venus is located. So in her house system she's showing Venus is in the sign, I can't even see it, where is it? Where's your Venus gone? Venus can't be too far away from the sun, is in the 12th house in the sign of Cancer conjunct Saturn. Don't know, that's such a good placement. But anyway, my Venus in my chart, which I'll show you the little clip, which rules my MC, so it's the ruler to it, is in the 6th house. My Venus is 17 degrees and my MC is 15 degrees, so it's quite fun and healthy. And it also, because it's the ruling planet to it and it forms a nice aspect to itself. Is that a square? Yeah, so it's a square. So it's a Ptolemaic. Can't remember how she pronounces it. Ptolemaic. So it's a friendly, well, it's not friendly, but it's an aspect and it's within 2 degrees. And if you remember a square, okay, so if we're talking about squares is the itch that you have to scratch, they'll make you do stuff. So my Venus ruling planet to my MC's in my 6th house of work, and I will work, and will I have the patience, actually, because I've got Leo ascendant, I'm pretty impatient, will I have the patience to see it through to the end? I have got a square between Uranus retrograde in Taurus, which is directly opposite my Venus, which will also form a square to my MC. So in some respects maybe I'm working against myself, but I've learned, because astrology has allowed me to do that. So you have to look for the planet that is exactly the same number as the degree as the MC, and then she's saying that that's your principal planet, and then you can go rulerships it as well. So she says determine the sign degree in the midheaven, find the planet nearest to that degree. Okay, so in my case, my sun sign is 15 degrees and my ascendant, my MC is 15 degrees, so that is my principal flapping planet. I mean, you could probably make an argument for my Saturn, which is 16 degrees, but that's 1 degree apart, and that's in Capricorn, so that's also in a nice fluffy trine earth sign. Okay, so you're with me? Yes? No? Yes? Let's go on. So we're going to use this person who is no longer with us and is in heaven. Now, they are a sun sign Pisces, 14 degrees and 59 minutes. So in the chart showing it as being 15 degrees. Their MC is 12 degrees, and there isn't another planet in the chart that is 12 degrees. Saturn's 14 degrees, the sun's 15 degrees. There's nothing else that's 12. But the MC's in the sign of Cancer. Now, they did have a career, so their career was artistic, and their ascendant is Libra, ruling planet, that's Venus. Venus is located in the 5th, so they did dedicate their life to their craft. And the nearest planet to forming any sort of aspect to the MC is the Sun. The Sun's in the 5th, so this is about somebody that worries, and they did worry a considerable amount. Moon is in Taurus, not forming an aspect to anything other than the opposition to Neptune retrograde in the 1st in the sign of Scorpio, even though ascendant is Libra. So we have to ask the question before we're talking about, because this book is about success. I'll put the link to it in the show notes, and the book, as I say, is called Finding Success in Your Horoscope. And the point she makes in the book, which I think is a very valid point, you need to determine for yourself is what is your definition of success? What do you define success as being? Now, I had to, this is talking about success at work, I had to define that for myself when I was studying Successful Private Practice, which is an audio program written by a guy called Andrew Parr, who I much later learned hypnotherapy with. I don't even have his chart, but anyway, he said before you even, because it's called Successful Private Practice, you need to define for yourself what is your idea of your successful private practice. What would it look like? Now, this encompasses astrology practice and therapy practice, any sort of practice where you're one-on-one with a client, there's 2 of you in the room, or maybe 3, and you're working in some way with that person, because he's a hypnotherapist. He didn't write it for hypnotherapists, he wrote it because he worked in a clinic, and there were certain people that he worked with that were ridiculously successful, and others that just had one client every year or something that weren't successful, or what he defined as success. So when you're talking about the MC with someone, and I don't get into these discussions much with clients, maybe this will change now that I'm talking about a bit more today, because a lot of beginner astrologers are so concerned about, will I ever be successful with this? Will I be able to make a living out of this? Blah, blah, blah. And that can stymie them even going anywhere with it. Yes? So it's necessary when you're considering your chart and your level of success, but what is your definition of success? So I had to be able to do this program and listen to the audio and make it worthwhile listening to it. My definition of success was that I wanted a minimum amount of X amount of clients a week. So I'd given myself a number. There was a minimum amount of money that I wanted to earn. So in a year, I wanted to earn blah, blah, blah amount of money, divided it by the amount of hours that I was prepared to work. That would be how much I would have to charge the clients per hour. I also defined success as being not just having clients come and see me, but clients coming back for follow-ups, clients coming back for this, in homeopathy, that is coming for second or third consultation, to a maximum of 4 to 6. There are clients that I work with in homeopathy that I've done way more than that, but the majority of clients is between 3 and 4 consultations, because I want them to get better and go off and live their lovely lives. So what was my definition of success? I needed to make a living from it. Now, these might all be things that a Taurus midheaven is concerned with, but I didn't look at it in an astrological perspective when I was in the middle of doing it, because I was too much in the middle of doing it type of thing. You with me? Yes. So if you're going to do it for yourself, and I recommend you do as a little exercise, find out the sign of your midheaven, see which polymetic, or whatever the flipping term was. I don't know. Let me find out how to pronounce it. It's going to drive me crazy. Hold on. Ptolemaic. There we go. Ptolemaic, and it's spelled Ptolemaic. Ptolemaic. Okay, just don't pronounce the P. Yeah, so you need to find the aspects. So we're going to do a few charts. We're not just doing one. But going back to chart example number 1, so this person that I know quite well is unfortunately in heaven. I wouldn't say that they were successful in their career if we're defining success as being loads of money, sitting on a throne, wearing a crown type stuff. They eventually retrained as a carer. Okay, so they worked one-on-one with particularly unwell clients, even though they've got a degree in art and they were beautifully artistic. They unfortunately didn't make enough money from that, wasn't paid enough, so they went into caring. And you're looking at the MC being in Cancer, the ruling planet to the moon's in the 7th, it's all about relationships and stuff. They did do very well with that, and I would say that that was particularly successful what they did, because they liked the work, and B, they made a living from it and could support a wife and child, I think it's just one child. And even though they unfortunately died very early of cancer, very sadly. So the MC and the sun sign in a nice sextile aspect, both of those being water. So sextile is the same element, trine is a complementary element. That's the only way I can remember it. Is that right? A trine? No, it's a trine. Big pardon. Sextile is complementary, trine is the same element. So they've got the MC in water and the sun in water, and they're only less than 2 degrees apart, 2, 3, whatever, 14 degrees Pisces. That's the nearest. The only other thing that's in the teens is Sagittarius Saturn, which is 14 degrees, but that's never going to make an aspect to Cancer. That's an inconjunctive, if anything. Oh, aren't you clever, Mary, remembering that? Yes, I am. And so it was much better. Their career became less stressful, because they used to stress a lot about their career when they went into caring. Yeah? You with me? Okay. So we can get into jobs. So certain jobs can nudge us in a certain direction to do other stuff. Now, I'm very much a freedom-loving individual. I've been being told what to do. I've been self-employed for far too long now to ever be able to work for anybody. I don't even think I could do part-time work for anybody. I have to do my own thing. I need to be in control. It's probably the Leo ascendant. Who knows? So we're going to use a second chart example. This person has given permission for me to discuss their chart. I won't say their name, but we've got their chart. So they are and have learned astrology. So this is a student. So this is somebody who's already learned astrology with me and is now not embarking on an astrological career, because they've got to pay the bills. It's very difficult to go straight into being an astrologer if you haven't got financial backing of some sort by having another part-time job that will support you, or a parent or a partner, or I don't know, some inheritance that your grandparents have left you, or whatever. So this person is sun sign Aquarius, moon in Gemini, and the MC, like myself, because they've also got a Leo ascendant, the MC is 14 degrees into the sign of Taurus. And Venus, which is the ruling planet, that is square. Okay, so there might be with them the same thing, that they're working against their own best interests until they start to absorb the energy of the sign that MC is in, if they want their career to be something that suits their career. Now, I know for sure, I can't remember, it was somebody, I think it might be my sister, said to me the other day that it was either my sister or it was a client, that I've been, oh no, it was a client actually, that I've been in this field of work for so long now, so it's 30 plus years, and this is the Taurus flipping MC. I've been in it so long, even though I've got Moon in Gemini, and hypnotherapy, a bit of astrology, a bit of past life sessions, a bit of psychic readings, a bit of homeopathy, blah, 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 blah. So within my practice, I'm doing various different things, but ostensibly people know me as an alternative therapist / astrologer, or maybe the other way around if you did the podcast, astrologer / alternative therapist. So I've been in this field for a long time. So the fact that I've been in that field for a long time, that's very much a Taurus thing. Remembering, if you've got a Gemini midheaven, you are going to need to multitask and have more than one flipping job. Okay, so forget about your sun sign. This is the sign of your midheaven. Okay, with me? Yes. So she also has MC. Now, even though they have a job and they're getting paid to do that so they can pay the bills, they are also working within the astrological field. Okay, so they're doing, so they haven't given up or sort of allowed themselves to worry too much about the fact that I'm not an astrologer, but they're still studying, they are still doing astrological things and writing and keeping in the loop of astrology, which is one of the things they've learned. Yeah. So I would say that the way that their chart is set up, ruling planets, the MC, Venus is in the 6th, the same as myself, that if your ruling planet, your MC, is in your 6th house, then you're going to be more inclined to want to work hard, because the 6th house is about work, the actual work we do every day, more likely to be able to work at it to bring it about. Yeah. So just talking about there's a difference between the ruler to the midheaven and the principal planet. Okay, so in chart example number 1, the principal planet, so the ruler to the MC is the moon, but that's not the principal planet. The principal planet in their case was the sun. So the sun as a principal planet brings the power of command to the midheaven with the added responsibilities, privileges and penalties of leadership. Creative expression is emphasised, whether through artistic endeavours, which they did, children's sports or recreational activities. Naturally assuming managerial positions with grace and integrity, this placement enjoys preferential treatment and excels at giving direction but falls short at taking it. In their case, that they were looking after quite debilitated elderly people, which is equivalent to looking after children. Okay, so that's the sun. If the moon is the principal planet, so it's not the rulership to it, but if the moon is the principal planet, because it's the same degree as the MC, if the moon is the principal planet, gives a deep sense of familiarity, a need to nurture, and a shrewd and endearing sense of what the public needs to feel safe and secure. Collectors and pack rats, all their boat is loaded to the gunwales with all the necessary equipment for food, clothing and shelter. When Mercury is the principal planet, she keeps talking about fishermen, but anyway, 2 bilingual fishermen were in a boat to ensure continuous banter in different languages. The printed words fill the boats with memos, magazines, books, keeping close proximity to their computers, iPods, fax machines. That shows when the book was written. Palm pilots, they're old things that play a major role in their marketplace presentation. Venus as the principal planet. Painting, sculpture, crafts, singers, performers, musical instruments of every stripe. Okay, so that's what I've got. Musicians are always on board with this stunning, beautiful boat, serenading the fishermen. Stop about the fishermen. Shrewd bargainers and demand excellence that appeal to the 5 senses. So it's an earth sign thing. So I'll just go through them all. Mars is the principal planet. So let's take all the fishing things out. So this is about military efficiency and precision. Don't want to compromise will not back down from a fight. Their fellow workers, they'll assist them in an emergency. So this is people that have little or no patience, and they want to outdo their peers. Jupiter is the principal planet, always seeking reasons to expand. Vibrant, globe-trotting individuals want to work towards an academic degree. Clergy, entertainers, jockeys, educators, booksellers, veterinarians, scientists, lawyers, athletes and pilots. That was a big chapter, that one, wasn't it? Oh, it's enormous. Saturn is the principal planet, so this is no-nonsense design, conservative, withstanding extreme conditions, well-mannered, uniform, disciplined, capable, shrewd, ambitious. If you've got Uranus as your principal planet, you want to be different to others, use technology, humanists, egalitarianism, stop using these long words, promoting freedom, no rank and file, discord with authority. Neptune, inexplicable fog, ethereal music, strange environments, no predetermined destination, granting sanctuary, steam room, cinema, cocktail lounge, rehab, spiritual retreat centre, hospital, hospice. And with Pluto as a principal planet, keep out, what have we got here? Pirates, detectives, sexual predators, surgeons, shamans, psychiatrists. Those are the sort of types of jobs that she's suggesting, people that have that. Okay, so we've covered chart 1, chart 2. We're now going to do chart 3. Now, the reason that well, it's not so much a reason, but I am using a couple of charts today for people that are passed over. Because, you know, their whole life has been lived, and how did they do it, what they were doing. So the next one I'm going to use is my father. So we do have a time of birth because my auntie was an astrologer, his sister. So we've got Sagittarius ascendant, Sun in Sagi, 29 degrees 57 minutes. Yes, they were born on the 22nd of December. Because they were born early in the morning, the Sun's in Sagittarius. Don't write and say, oh, they should be a Capricorn, because I've had some people email me that. Moon in Libra, and the MC is 29 degrees into the sign of Libra, and Mars is 27 degrees, so it's less than 2 degrees away. Now, if we're looking at principal planets of 29 degrees, the Sun is 29 degrees. Okay, so we've got, and they were successful. To my dad was very successful in his work. He worked for a pharmaceutical company called Glaxo. He got promoted. He didn't go onto the board of directors, which was a bit of a duff for him. And then eventually somebody came in to the company. He'd worked for them for more than 30 years, and they made him retire early because they wanted to get somebody much younger in that they could pay less money to, because he was on quite a big salary. But he was successful at what he did. So his 29 degrees MC and his sun sign, so that's Libra, and Sagi are sextile. So we've got a nice aspect between that, and the ruler to the MC is Venus, and the natal Venus is in the 12th house at 18 degrees. Is it conjunct the ascendant? Venus is conjunct the ascendant, yeah, because it's only less than 4 degrees apart. So he definitely was a charmer, that's for sure. He had the gift of the gab. His Mercury's 26 degrees, so it's only 3 degrees apart from his MP, but the ruling, well, that's like the principal flapping planet, is definitely the Sun, and the Sun is the person that doesn't want to be told what to do and all the rest of it, and he definitely shone in the work that he did, and he had his degree, went to university, got a degree in chemistry, so he knew all about the chemical compositions of the things that he was flogging, which was pharmaceuticals. He didn't live very long. He only lived to be 60, and he died of bowel cancer, but that's a different thing altogether. But as far as his work was, he was successful in what he did, and he didn't change jobs. So he joined the company after he came out of university in the army, because he was obviously alive during the Second World War, and he worked for them all of his life. So he was particularly let down when they decided to retire him early, but he picked himself up and started a little company selling British pottery abroad. So his hobby was pottery, and he thought, I'll make a little business selling British pottery to other countries, because he liked all the travel, being a Sagi. And can we say it was successful or not successful? He enjoyed doing it, and the people that he worked with liked him to do it, but I think it proved to be a little bit more challenging than he expected it to be. But I would say that he was successful. He never moaned about his work. He loved his job, and he certainly loved travelling on aeroplanes. There's one story about him. There was an aeroplane taking off at the airport. This is back in the day now, and he's running along the runway shouting at it with his suitcase, because he's just not managed to make it there in time. You just couldn't do that today. You'd be arrested. And I don't know where the airport was, and I think he had to catch the next plane, but he literally ran out onto the runway and was waving at them, I need to get on board. As if anybody's going to stop and go, oh yeah, all right mate, let's put the steps down, you can get on. So we've got principal planet that's making this nice Ptolemaic aspect. So he was successful in what he did. Now, the other thing you have to remember is that you can be successful in your career and you could be shit in your private life. You might get divorced or be horrible. So we also need to take into account when we're talking about success at work. Success at work, it mustn't be, this is my personal opinion, mustn't be at the expense of anything else in your life. And I've got Sun in the 7th, so I'm always talking about balance. Things got to be balanced. There needs to be a balance with it. There's these people that are so intent. There's a lot in the astrology community that they want to be the best astrologer ever, and they're going to have the most amount of clients and the best social media, and they're going to do this and they're going to do that, and they're going to train with the other. Hello. Go and smell some roses and lie in the garden and look at the sky. So we have to keep in mind when we're defining my definition of success is that you can do whatever it is and you feel happy with what it is that you have done in your career, in whatever way you want to think about your career as being, right? Now, in the book, she goes into things like mutual reception, mixed mutual reception, other planets, like if you've got the sun in Leo and the moon in Cancer, there'll be a mutual reception to each other. What sort of conversations are those planets going on? I'm not going to read all of the book out because you've got to go and get a copy of it. But it's just to highlight for you that what was happening for me, I thought, there's got to be something astrologically going for it. It wasn't just random. There must have been a planet that was doing it, and Jupiter is definitely the planet that was helping, and the conjunction to Uranus as well. So I'm sort of, in a sense, a living example of what that conjunction has done in my chart at the moment, as far as my MC goes. And then transiting Saturn is exactly conjunct my sun sign, which already makes a nice aspect to my MC anyway, because my sun sign's in water and my MC's in earth. So let me know what's going on with your MC at the minute. Let me know where your MC is. What sign is it in? What house is it in? In my case, my MC's in a house that I don't have planets in, which is my 9th. And so my 9th house in equal house is all about long distance travel, further education, So you could say, in a sense, that with astrology, I am teaching people, and I have taught astrology for a long time. So that keeps my 9th house happy. I especially like the fact that a considerable amount of people that I work with aren't born in the UK, aren't local to where I am. Maybe if I had an MC in Cancer, I'd want them all to live around the corner. So it's quite a difficult combo having MC in Taurus, because Taurus is such an earth-based, I'm immovable sign, and the 9th is the higher education, philosophy, long distance travel, further education, all of this, getting on an aeroplane and stuff, and I don't physically get on an aeroplane, but I do, with the internet, can imagine or communicate with people, so I'm not restricted. Now, if the internet hadn't been invented, we have to ask the question, how might my MC have managed? What would have been other ways of doing it? But we won't go into that because this podcast is not about me, it's about the MC. But I wanted to talk about it today. It was just like, what is happening astrologically? So let me know what's happening with your MC. We'll talk about, because I think we need to do a few episodes on MC. Okay, I'm gonna tackle it again next week. Now, we have also got a guest. I've already booked them in, so I'll give you more details about them, and they'll be on a future episode. We've got Christine Hristova, who's going to talk to us about solar arcs, and that's coming up later in May. So we've got a super guest booked, so that's coming up in the future, but not just yet. So in the meantime, I need you to send me an email, mary@maryenglish.co.uk. I've got my MC in such and such a house and such a sign, and we need to, does it figure for you? Is that making sense for you? Is that what your chart you want to do with that particular positioning and aspects and blah blah blah? And then we'll talk about your chart on the podcast, and we can totally anonymize you, so don't fret if you don't want to have your name mentioned. Auntie Mary won't. So I hope you have a fab week, and I'll be back next week. Bye bye now.